Welcome back. So, the Broadway revival of Proof brings together a powerful cast led by Ayo and Don Cheadle, delivering a story that's emotionally gripping but surprisingly uneven in its execution. At its core, Proof is about grief, mental illness, and the fragile line between genius and instability. The story follows Catherine, a brilliant but troubled young woman struggling to cope with the death of her father, Robert, a once celebrated mathematician whose mental had declined over the years. Set in 1990s Chicago, the play opens quietly with Catherine sitting on the porch of her home. Her father appears, and at first it feels like a simple birthday moment between the two. But then there's an immediate emotional weight beneath the surface, and soon we realize something unsettling. Robert is already dead. What we are seeing is part memory, part imagination, and part emotional unraveling. Through a series of flashbacks, the story slowly reveals their complicated relationship. Robert's descent into mental illness forced Catherine to sacrifice her own life to care for him, and now, after his death, she is left not just with grief, but with fear. Fear that might inherit the same condition. Fear that her own brilliance might come at the same cost. As the narrative unfolds, other characters step in. Hal, played by Jin Ha, is one of Robert's former students searching through his notebook for any sign of mathematical genius left behind. His presence challenges Catherine to confront both her isolation and her hidden talents. Then there's her sister Claire, played by Cara Young, who arrives with good intention but ends up clashing with Catherine in a way that feels both real and deeply personal. One of the strongest elements of this revival is the dynamic between the sisters. Their conversation feels sharp, authentic, and often unexpectedly funny, bringing moments of relief to an otherwise heavy narrative. Visually, the production is simple but effective. The entire play unfolds on a single porch set, yet clever lighting and design choices allow the story to shift seamlessly through time and emotion. Combined with subtle original music, the atmosphere constantly evolves without ever feeling overwhelming. And yet, despite all of this strength, something doesn't fully land. While Io shines in the lighter, more sarcastic moment, her performance struggled to carry the emotional weight required for Catherine's deeper breakdown. Since much of the first act depends almost entirely on her, the lack of emotional grounding becomes noticeable. It's not that the performance is bad, it doesn't just fully match the intensity the role demands. In contrast, Don Cheadle delivers a commanding presence even though his role becomes more prominent later in the play. Kara Young and Jinha also brings consistency and depth, helping anchor the story when it starts to drift. The result is a production that feels slightly off balance because Proof itself remains a powerful piece of storytelling. Its themes, mental health, caregiving, sexism in academia, and burden of legacy are still incredibly relevant. The idea of questioning who gets to be called a genius, especially with a black woman at the center of the story, adds another meaningful layer. But this revival, despite its strong foundation, never quite reaches its full potential. By the end, you are left appreciating the writing, the themes, and parts of the performance, but also feeling like something essential was missing. It's gripping, thoughtful, and at times genuinely moving, just not as impactful as it could have been. Thank you for watching.